You are tuned in to another edition of Americana Music Profiles, brought to you by Americana Rhythm Music Magazine and AmericanaMusicMagazine.com. I'm your host, Greg Tutwiler. Let's jump right in to the next exciting interview. From the time Anthony Crawford graduated high school, music was a focal point of his career. The Alabama native went from Opryland to Grand Ole Opry and has worked with such great artists as Roy Acuff, Sonny James, Neil Young, Stevie Winwood, and Vince Gill. While recording in a Nashville studio on a solo project, he met Savana Lee, who would become his musical partner and his wife. Hot off a 2019 tour with Dwight Yoakam, this duo, performing as Sugarcane Jane, has just released a new record, Ruffled Feathers, Songs in the Key of Me. Anthony and Savana are my guests on this edition of Americana Music Profiles. Savana and Anthony, thanks for joining us on the podcast today. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Doing great. Thanks, Greg.
You guys are in Alabama, is that right?
We are down in South Alabama near the Gulf of Mexico.
Did you guys get any of the weather that passed through?
Not at all. We've had, I think that it pretty much sucked all the bad weather out of here and just made it beautiful blue skies. But I'm sure at some point it's going to get a little bit rainy, I think, this weekend. But we missed it, thankfully.
Yeah.
We were good.
That's awesome. Yeah, of course. We're in Virginia and sort of I'm in the valley of the mountains, but we still catch a lot of the coastal weather. So we certainly it's that time of the year. So I'm glad you guys have a pretty day to enjoy while you were relaxing and kids at school. I understand, so that's good. I appreciate you guys taking a few minutes out of your day to chat with us about your music and what you guys been up to. You all, of course, your band is Sugarcane Jane. How long has that been a band? You guys have a music careers prior to that, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, for me personally, I started out, touring with people as a sideman and had a lot of good fortune come my way about being in the right place at the right time. I've never claimed to be the most talented person in the world, but I think if you do have your talent and you're in the right place at the right time and you're able to get along with people, you can find your way into some pretty amazing opportunities, as I did.
And you got to work with some pretty amazing entertainers, right? Neil Young and Dwight Yoakam and Steve Winwood and folks like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tons of opportunity came my way, and I just felt like it was my destiny, though. At some point or another, when I met Savana, to just be doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So I love everything that I ever was able to accomplish as a sideman, but I didn't really start my performing career as much until I met her. We just started playing music, and we've got several thousand shows under our belt now after about 11 years.
You started as a teenager, is that right? Kind of out of the gate? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I played a lot of shows as a solo, but not focused. I didn't have any merch, and I didn't really book myself all the time. And so when I got with Savana, much later in my life, we actually had everything organized. She's a great organizer, and along with being a musician, she's able to make everything logistically work, and especially when you have 3 kids and you're trying to figure out babysitters as much as a venue, it's tough.
Right, yeah. Savana, what did you do prior to you guys getting together in your musical career?
Well, I moved up to Nashville, which is where I met Anthony, and I was trying to be a songwriter. I was going that route, played at the Bluebird and Broken Spoke and Douglas Corner, all those places. And then I ended up kind of falling into a recording studio, like an analog studio called Deep Field, and managed that studio for, I don't know, 5 years or so.
Okay.
That's where I actually met Anthony.
Right.
So he came into that studio to record, and I really fell in love with his music before I knew who he was. So we kind of knew each other and were friends with each other for about 10 years before we actually got together.
Wow. How long after that was it that you guys decided to put the band together and play together professionally?
Well, we did it right away. I mean, it just always, playing music always seemed like a better way to live than working in an office. I've done I moved out of Nashville after a failed marriage, so I got back home and just moved down to the beach where there was lots of sunshine, and I was really just looking to just kind of take it easy for a while. And so I started playing my music and getting back into that. And then Anthony moved down not long later, and so we started. I guess it was January of 2009. He was actually still touring with Neil a lot of that year, but when he was not on tour, we were just playing locally around the beach, having a good time, just having fun.
Yeah. So you guys are fairly new parents then, right? Within the last 10 years, it sounds like.
Yeah, we didn't wait too long to start having babies. Apparently, we're quite fertile people. So we had Loretta in July of 2010, and then we have Levon Cash, and he's 7 now, and then Dusty Lee, a little girl, and she's 4. So we named them all after artists, of course.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you put the band together officially?
Oh, well, we're actually a duo most of the time. We went out on a tour with Dwight Yoakam last year before the pandemic hit. We had a really successful tour, but he wanted a full band, so we put one together, and I put
cool. Okay.
Yeah, just some childhood friends that were really good musicians. So we called it the Bucket Fillers because we wanted to just be out there putting good vibes in people's bucket. There's a book that our kids read. We read to our kids. It's called the Bucket Filler or something. I forget what it is, but it had bucket filler in it, and that whole concept of you can fill somebody's bucket with good stuff or bad stuff. So. Anyway, so we went out, we played. So we had that band. We put the band together at different times. Savana and I have had different configurations, but the nucleus of who we are is just Savana and myself, and it's based around just our harmonies and the uniqueness of our approach to writing songs. I feel like we're a little bit of an odd cookie in the batch.
But you guys have been recording for a while, right? You have a new record out, but it's not your first one, is that right?
No, it's actually our
10th, okay.
Studio CD, and then I have several, maybe 4 or 5 solo CDs. So we have tons of music that we produce, and we also produce other people that we come across that we feel like we're a good fit with. But there's a lot of music flowing through our veins all the time.
Yeah.
Usually it's just me and Savana.
And the new record is Ruffled Feathers, Songs in the Key of Me. And did I read it right that you guys wrote the song for in a week? You got the music together?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We are pretty amazed that all of the projects we've ever produced came about quite quickly, but some were just took forever, but this one was very special, and it's fueled by the emotions of the current environment. And so, but it's not like a total political record or anything, but I felt a spirit moving inside of me, and I call it my Holy Spirit, because I have at times had a difficult the part of writing lyrics. I'm usually a music person first. If anybody wanted to know how do you write your songs, I usually write music first, which this time I wrote it all at one time. I know the music, I played the guitar first, but the music and the words fit together without even trying. I did very little rewriting or anything. The words just came to me as if my spirit was writing them and keeping me out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole CD, I would write a song, like, for instance, when Savana taught me how to get on Facebook Live, that was a pretty dangerous thing for her to do. But I found it very inspiring to be able to go out and connect with people in the studio. And we've been ambiguous people for 11 years. Nobody knew anything about us other than, boy, they sure can sing, or whatever. But in these particular times, we've noticed that it's you got to just, if you don't notice what's going on, you got to be on one side or the other. And so we just came out a little bit about how we felt about things, and then, but the main message we are just all about is tolerating everybody in their opinion, just trying to be thoughtful about other people as they figure out how to move forward.
Right.
So that in itself is where we stood. No matter what you feel or who you're voting for or anything, it's all be tolerant of someone who is making their mind up, and even those who are just concreted into their decision. It's all a choice. And so, in other words, we're just trying to promote tolerance and also just being kind-hearted about your reply to somebody on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always happen. It doesn't. So, but the record itself, I would write a song. Within 2 hours, I would have a song that was not even a thought in my head. I would have it written.
Wow.
Written and recorded, fully produced, and I would play it for my little friends on Facebook right after I did it. I was so excited about, hey, here's another one, you know.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so we had 9 songs in 6 days, and then I had written an instrumental prior to the beginning of that. So it was this, and then Savana did the graphics, which is one of the best graphic designs that we have of all of our CDs.
Oh,
but
neat.
she put it all together in one day.
Wow.
One day. So
wow.
Wow. We had it out to the people. So
wow.
That's how it happened.
And you have your own studio, is that right?
Yes. It's a beautiful little console. I have a really nice analog sound workshop, 34-channel mixing console, and then we have a lot of old microphones, amps, guitars. We do use Pro Tools for the tape machine, if you will, but we don't have like tape, but we have a lot of analog gear, and we use it to make it sound all analog and whatever. So it's really a thing to have your own studio and know how to work it. It really helps. Yeah.
Well, I really dig the kind of, I guess the term is vintage sound that you've captured with your music, and that analog. I'm old enough to remember the 70s and 80s music and how that felt, and there's a magic to that that's hard to capture or create with the new digital material.
Oh, sure. I think it really does come to be an obvious thing when you start listening to the drums. You know, I like those drum sounds of the 70s and the 60s, and I think a lot of people use sample drums on their music these days. And there's something about my relationship that I had with Neil Young. I learned a lot about recording from being in the room with all those great engineers and musicians, and just the way that they thought about music.
Yeah.
And they didn't over-edit things to make it perfect. They just let the thing breathe and be what it is. And that's a big part of it, is just let it, don't overthink it. Yeah. Don't be a perfectionist with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's actually magic, I think, sometimes in the slight imperfections with music.
Oh, certainly. People edit out their magic, and they don't even realize it, because something that sounds a little funky when you put it down might wind up being something ultra fantastic when another part is introduced to it. And it just you can't over edit it. It just takes the magic out of it to me.
Yeah, I love that vibe. So the record is just recently out, right? Did I see the 14th it was released officially?
That's right, yeah. August 14th.
What will it look like tour-wise with this, or will you be able to tour when we can get back to some sort of touring type schedule again? Do you guys have a plan of how you will take it out to the public?
Well, we would love to think that the world would calm down after November. It's just been such the people of this country have been beat up. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just so tired of it, for just the anxiety of everything.
Yeah.
So we would love to be able to go back out and tour sometimes in 2021. Hopefully that's when things might lighten up. But the future is so uncertain that it's difficult to even plan anything.
Sure.
But what we do plan on doing is doing more of our Facebook Live shows, because at least we're connecting with people and we feel some sort of live show with them. But it's certainly not like being with them.
Right.
But we when the pandemic started in March, we did 43 shows in a row, and we called it the Hibernation Tour. And we
cool.
and we found out that we did, as far as just financially, not to be talking about that part as much, but it did work out. When we played, we didn't have to pay babysitters or gas or food or hotel.
Yeah.
So in other words, we were able to go on there, and the gratuity was just enough to float our boat. So we found that it actually worked out to be just as good financially to do it at home, but we missed the people, and being with them.
Do you all, has house concerts been a part of what you've done in the past? Is that something that you would do moving forward when we can?
Oh, well, we have done a few of those, and we would certainly entertain the thought of doing that in the future, because it does seem like a more of a controlled environment and that sort of thing. We actually enjoy that sort of thing, but we were really excited about our positioned career was moving forward, doing things like there's nothing better than opening for an iconic entertainer like Dwight Yoakam. We had standing ovations on all of our shows with him, so we know that they had no clue of who we were at all. So I think that it was a proving ground for us to know that we can go in and play for people. But once we came out and told people how we feel about certain things, we polarized ourselves with some, and then gained fans in other areas. So it's still just all about the same, but who knows what the future is going to bring? But we're definitely willing to go.
Yeah.
But we want to pick back up where we left off. We don't necessarily look forward to going back and playing, like a restaurant or something that we did like when we were just beginning.
Yeah. Are you constantly writing? I mean, do you have material in your mind or in the can already that you look forward to what the next project will be?
Oh yeah, I've pretty much have been a songwriter. Before I met Savana, I would go out with Neil Young or Dwight or Steve Winwood, and I would make enough money to be able to just have my time to myself, and I would spend it all just my time being in my own studio up in Nashville, and I just hibernated away into my own little world and wrote hundreds and hundreds of songs. But there has never been a time in my life like there like right now, because if you are a songwriter and you can't write a song right now, then you might
Yeah.
want to hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to write
the
about.
land of fertile. It
Yeah.
is so you can just throw a seed of thought out there and it will grow overnight.
Yeah.
Anthony actually, he's written 3 more songs since we did the Ruffled Feathers album that's in the same vein. You know, I think they kind of go together. So it's possible that there might be a Ruffled Feathers 2 or
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
So, because they seem to be flowing right now for him.
Yeah.
The only reason why I quit writing was because I had 2 or 3 people that I had production projects with, and I felt like I better get on with it
Yeah.
because it was just hanging there. But so I've got them out of the way now, and I'm just right after we hang up, I might go out there and just write another song because it's just
Yeah.
they're in me right now, and
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then one of those songs he wrote with Neil's Crazy Horse drummer Ralph Molina. It's really fantastic. It's like an anthem. So I'm looking forward to getting that one out as soon as possible. But so far we got 2 albums this year. So
Okay.
you know,
Wow. That's
we might
good.
want to start again. Yeah.
Savannah, do you write as well?
You know, I used to write when I moved up to Nashville, but I tell you what, it was really like work for me. I mean, I love melodies and I love singing harmony. They don't come as natural to me as they do for Anthony. When I met him and I started going through his catalog, he's got about 400 or more just like really great songs. I mean, his worst song
Wow.
was better than my best song, and
Wow.
so I just kind of hung that part up.
Yeah.
And I'm so busy with just, like he said, the logistics and just being a mom, and learning my bass part. Anthony taught me how to play this little youth bass that I really fell in love with.
Cool.
And I think it's my instrument. I played, guitar and piano and different instruments growing up and all, but I just love the sound of the youth bass, and it works well for what we're doing to give us a full sound. So I've got my hands full. I'm going to leave the writing to them.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys have found yourself in a really neat place at life in spite of what's going on outside the 4 walls. And so I it's encouraging to hear your story and realize that we don't have to be, if I can use the word, victim of what's going on around us. If you're seeking kindness and trying to do what you do best, you can find that rhythm and still find peace. So that's cool.
I think so. I think it takes getting out there and paving anew. It's like the roads are still out there. We just have to pave them again.
Yeah.
Because my dad was always very analytical about making analogies about things, but I do see that we're just kind of like paving our own path again, and we're doing the same thing we always did. And the funny thing about people who have been upset with us voicing our, opinion or concerns about where we're headed as a country, I think those people need to understand that we're still the same people. That's the whole thing. Is
right.
People that came to our shows, they would just tap their foot, get a great feeling from us, whatever. We're still those people. But I think that this whole thing has just turned everybody into a sour person at different times.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that being a positive person, like Savannah and I usually are very positive people, but I tell you, when you get in a room of kids arguing, it can turn you into a different person. And
right.
That is the same thing I see when you see what's happening in this country and the arguing amongst adults and on Facebook and just all of this, that, and the other. It really makes you a bit sour. So you have to really be careful about not seeking that path of kindness. And I'm guilty as well. Sometimes something will just rub me the wrong way, and I'll just knee-jerk reaction, say something that's not kind.
Yeah.
But I do feel guilty about it, and there's something in my body that won't let that go. And so I'll usually wind up apologizing or just, somehow making it right.
Right.
And that's what I think people probably are a lot like me. There's a lot of good people out there in the world, despite what everybody's saying.
Oh,
I think we're
right.
we're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that need to be fixed, but for the most part, everybody's pretty much wanting the same thing. They want freedom, and they want the opportunity to prosper, and safety for their family and children, and just that good old American way of life. And I love it.
Yeah, well, that's so cool. So you guys have the new record is Ruffled Feathers, but you have a catalog of other records as well. What's the best way for folks to find your music and get in touch with you guys and learn more about what's going on in your music world?
Always the best way is to go to sugarcanejane.com. That's our website. You can read anything you want to about us, follow anything that you want to, and you can buy the merchandise, and it goes directly to us. But we are on Spotify and, Pandora and all of the other YouTube, all of that kind of stuff. But if you really want to just get right up close with us, go to the sugarcanejane.com. And that's the same with any artist. That's how artists can make it through.
Sure, yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today and tell us your story and help us learn more about your music, and we certainly wish you the best going forward. Thank you, guys.
Oh, Greg, thank you.
We appreciate it, Greg. Thanks so much.
Let's take a listen to one of their latest tracks, Feelings in a Song. This is Sugarcane Jane.
Well, now let me try to explain what I'm feeling in a song. It's the only way that I've ever moved my wagon along. And I've got my head just above the fray. Comes with a price I hope I never have to pay. Such as these, living like I was everybody I was trying to please, freaking people out to see this side of me, and I leave myself wide open 'cause I want you to see the real me.
Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Americana Music Profiles. Find us on iTunes at Americana Music Profiles and on the internet at AmericanaRhythm.com.